Hi, everybody. This is Magnifying Mayhem, and I am True Crime Blonde. You can
And
go
I'm Indigo
ahead.
Masquerade.
And I'm going to let you kind of take over with the intro.
Well, today we're talking about Jessica Kent and kind of current events with her. And what I really wanted to know, first of all, Mandy, is how did you get started watching Jessica Kent? Because I think that was very interesting when you first told me, but how did that
Yeah.
go?
Well, I started writing in 2019, and my very first client, like it's actually funny, was Christina Randall. Like I was shooting for the stars when I started, and I thought she was great, and I started writing for her. I did a few stories, and then I went back and watched like other content that wasn't really true crimey content. And I found Jessica through that, and she seemed super genuine. I find that when Jessica records with anyone, she picks up their mannerisms, and Jenny, Christina in general is super genuine. So I think that she came off that way because of Christina. Christina is a good judge of character, and it's like is a good person. And it's interesting listening to her story. It really is. But then you add it up, and it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense, and it's like even when she would record with Reese, I find him to be genuine. I don't know if he's a sociopath. I don't know if anything she's ever said is true. But when she would record with his personality and came off very genuine. But it's like when she would record with, let's say, Jason, she's a girl. You know what I mean? And it's like it's
Yes.
very, very odd and very interesting. And it really speaks to the fact that I don't think that a very strong feeling of like inner self, like who she is.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely. Well,
how did
that
you find her?
it came across my YouTube recommendations one day, and I don't really necessarily know exactly what made me click it, but it was like a list of top 10 ways to prepare for prison, and I'm thinking I'm never going to be using this, hopefully,
Yeah.
but I clicked on it anyway. I was interested, and I kind of binge watched her content from there, and I think she commented on something I said, and I love when creators engage with what I'm saying. That makes me feel like they're more personable, trying to build a community, which unfortunately has not been the case lately. But that had me really watch further and further. I was interested, and I knew people who went to prison, but like I never sat down and talked to them about prison, so it was just fascinating to me.
I think, I related to her. It was very easy to like her, if that makes sense. And I
Well,
definitely think, oh, go ahead.
sorry. But looking back, though, at her content, though, I've realized that what a lot of people saw as relatable has actually been a lot of her ex-boyfriends. And she would sprinkle in relatable things here and there, like, hey, I'm doing this with Riley or Reese, or we're like this fun, family-friendly vlog channel or whatever. But on her main prison content, I went back and noticed that a lot of it actually is, well, look, this is where my ex Randy lives, and this is where Randy and I got in a fight, and this is Randy and I did this, and baby daddy did this, and
Mm-hmm.
it actually all entirely was just whoever she was dating at the moment.
Well, honestly, too, if you go back, because I was curious, if you go back, every video that she did with Reese performs better than any of her singular content. Like, even when it was like
Oh.
way back, and it's like them recording like Q&As and stuff, it did better than her regular content. And I think people were very fascinated with him. I think he is a very charming and charismatic individual, which lead to her story of him being a sociopath to be very true, because that's very common in, or it could mean, he's just a charming guy, but I think that for some reason her audience has always been very interested in him. And even her documentary and docuseries that she's done, if you look at the views on that compared to what she's done over the past 2 years, the views are triple, quadruple, 8 times what they are on regular videos. She's getting
Oh, wow.
20K on videos like where she's doing, let's say, a true crime topic or like talking about prison. But she does one on Reese, and she'll get 265K. Like literally for videos, it's like you see the difference. Like she did just a regular video and it's 20K views. And then the next one's about Reese and it's 265K. And like this docuseries, the views keep going up on it. And I just think people are interested. I hate to say this but it's true. When you're on the highway and there's a terrible wreck, you want to see the wreckage. And that's what people are looking at. Like they saw this really cute relationship with them. And now they're seeing the wreckage. And I think that there's not much beyond that. Like, I don't think that people want to see what she's going to do past here.
We're watching horror.
Doesn't care.
Yeah, we're all just kind of bewildered at this point by just watching it like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? And hopefully this still turns out okay. And somehow it gets worse and worse and worse. It's just, it's horrific.
There's no redemption story. And I hate that for her because I think that for so long, even I wanted her to redeem herself. I wanted her to come back. I wanted her to be part of something. You know what I mean? Come back with some kind of prison reform, something. Come back with something positive. But she hasn't done that. And it's like, I get it. Like, you've been through a separation and it's hell. Like, I get it. Like, I'm not saying that breakups don't suck. I'm not saying that what you're going through isn't absolutely horrific. But I think that people in her community have just gotten tired of waiting on her to come back with something good. You know what I mean? I think that they just have accepted that she just isn't ever going to come back with that. And now it's like she's doing these lives with Burner. And it's like, are you relying on TikTok now? Is that going to be your gig where you just go live all the time and that's what you do? Like, it's almost dystopian because you're just like, well, damn, that sucks because it looks like you're not going to do anything, period. And I'm not saying she doesn't have a career. She obviously does. And she could do things. She could do the live thing. I mean, look, Jeffree Star does it. You know what I mean? Like, they could do the live thing. But I remember that Jessica that would come on and be like, oh, don't send super chats. Like, I don't need super chats. Give your money. And now it's like, oh, send me that. Yeah, that's great. Thanks for the 20 piece. Like, and it's surreal. And with her Patreon, I know that people have a huge problem with the fact that, you know, I get that it's only $2, but girl, like, you've been taking $2 from so many different people and you're not delivering shit. Like, you're not giving them anything. Like, the last thing that I know that she uploaded was about her move with him to Utah. And it's like, that's the thing. You're moving from a seriously populated area like Chicago to Utah with a man you barely know. Do you not see that, like, the isolation tactic there? Do you not see that you're going to be exactly isolated with your girls? Like, it's scary.
Well, and what she's going through, kind of going back to the Reese thing, a separation is horrific. How she's handling it, dragging it all out through court, basically reporting every breath he takes to the courts. I mean, it can't really be all that traumatic to her. Realistically, it's more traumatic for the girls. And the fact that, like I've said before, she's screwing him, apparently, allegedly, I'm going to say, but she, you know, allegedly. And so how traumatized could she possibly be by that? You know, like, it's not, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. He is making it out like he is so abusive to her in court. And from what I understand, he just filed on her because when they were screwing or whatever, allegedly in November, he told her he didn't want to get back with her and she beat him up. And he had to file charges against her. And I don't understand how they're moving to Utah because when you're going through court with your ex and, like, you have custody and whatnot, whether or not they're a piece of shit, whether or not they're doing supervised visitation, whether or not it's crap, they're involved enough that you have to tell the court, hey, I'm moving. Is this okay? Is it okay that I'm moving in with this person? This is where we're going to live. This is a stable place.
Well, I wanted to talk back about Reese, and you said he was charming, and maybe he's a sociopath, or at least that's what Jessica is claiming. See, personally, I don't pick up that kind of, I don't know, vibe, I guess, for lack of a better word.
I don't either from him. I don't with Reese, and, like, that's the thing, though. I will say it could be true because sometimes, like, most charming man in the room, the most good-looking guy, like, they are a sociopath. But he was so open, raw, and honest, and he has admitted to so many faults. And when I was in a relationship with a sociopath, that was not the case. They would not ever admit they were wrong. They would rather die. And it's like, that's what I see exhibited from Jessica. I see her being like, no, I'd rather die than say that I, am not lying about my prison stuff. It's like, there's so many things that if she would just give a little, people would get off her ass. And I don't think she like gets that. Like, that's kind of what's sad about it to me, is that she could easily gain favor back with some people, but she won't give that inch. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, my theory has been that since she started taking Adderall, it amplified her ASPD, antisocial personality disorder, for those who don't know those symptoms, because I've heard and read that it can, and it seems to like all of this extra overly defensive, no accountability, big attitude she's giving people.
And like, I will say, somebody else that we're going to talk about later, Jen Gerard, like the stuff going on with her and Dustin right now. Dustin is on Adderall. I was on Adderall for a while because we both had ADHD, but we were on just such as 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams. But Jen, there was a time in like 2021 where like ZocDoc and all these online doctors were like basically giving out Adderall like candy. Like, it was really bad. Like, they were basically prescribing it to everybody. Well, Jen got it, and she got on a high dosage. And this has all been proven by like text messages and whatnot. And it's like, she got on, I believe, 30 milligrams, and she would have Adderall rage. And she would have these episodes where like she thought it was like this cute, quirky, like personality trait to be going off on people because of her Adderall rage. And it's like, I see that with Jessica. I can see the anger. I can see like the obsessive, like, let me clean the house. Like, I can see all of like there's a point, like, when you have been an addict of anything, when you're on a medication, there's a point where you're like, okay, I'm on a stable dose. And when it's a little too much. Like, you always know that. And like, I just don't believe that she doesn't know that she's on a stable dose.
Right.
Because if what is being alleged is true, she's not only on whatever she's prescribed from the doctor, which could be, anywhere from 5 milligrams to 50. She's also on stuff she's buying up the street, whether it be, ice or it be more Adderall. She's on that too. And that's just a dangerous combination. It's like, and all the abuse Jason has pointed out in his emails, like her doing all these things, like, where is that anger coming from? You know what I mean? Why are you so angry? Why is it so pent up? Why are you having these bursts, it seems, of anger? Or these, even the erratic emotions, like just deciding that you want to marry him. Like, let's not take you to jail. Let's get married instead. I've been there. I've been that person, but like, that was in my active addiction. Like, straight up, like, I've been there. Right. I've been like the very, like, let's move to Alabama. I did that at one point. I moved to Alabama with nothing with my ex, but we were both heavily in active addiction at the time. And it's like,
well, and what I had heard is she's buying this stuff off the streets anyway. So, and Lord knows what's actually in it.
I mean, realistically, from what I heard, and this isn't going on anymore, I'm sure, but Mindy was mailing her Adderall. So like, that, you could be getting it that way. You could be getting, and if you're getting street drugs, you don't know what's in it. It could be, you could be getting, meth is not the best manufactured drug. Like, let's just be realistic about it. It's like usually made in like a bathtub or a Gatorade bottle or like weird shit. Like, my uncle did 8 years for manufacturing, and like, he was probably the only person who had a chemist set up. You know what I mean? But he was actually doing like big amounts, like it was big stuff, and it's like, that's why he did a good amount of time for it. But in my experience, that was never my drug of choice. It was never something I was into. But in my experience, when people make that, when they're into that, it is a dirty drug to do. And it's like, and you can also get angel dust, PCP, anything else mixed in there. And it's like, angel dust and PCP, like, those are scary drugs. Those are like, lose your mind, really freak the fuck out kind of drugs. And it's like, 100% she could be getting those mixed in with what she's getting. Like, it's 100% fact that it could happen.
But there's so much that I didn't notice until I really looked back on Jessica Kent's older content, and she didn't seem as overly defensive and, you know, really angry at everybody. She was a little bit defensive. I remember I asked her about something political. I think she was saying something about Texas, and I'm from Texas, so I guess that kind of hit a nerve with me in the first place, but I still feel like I approached that tactfully, and she was like really quick to snap back. And this was 2 years ago, I think. And so kind of around the time this must have started, but going back, and we were talking about this earlier, I wanted to kind of touch on this. She's showing off Burner right now, and Burner also seems overly defensive, and I'm kind of wondering like if they're sharing some stuff. And I hate to say that, you know, but you know, he also gives these psychopath vibes to me, just my opinion.
She picks up off of them, and you can tell like she likes it, and it's like I could care less if she liked it and like they were off on their own, but there are kids involved in this, and it's like at the end of the day, he is a violent man. Like it's not like he's a Boy Scout. It's not like he's Reese who had, you know, battle medals and had been through like the war and things like that. Like there's someone who went through the system, and it's like it's not to say that people who went through the system cannot reform, because I have 100% seen that so many times, but I just don't see that in this case. I don't. And Jessica just got that huge tattoo of the snake on her arm, and it's like that was for Jason, that was to rep him. And it's like you just got married in what was the marriage, like June, is that right?
Yeah, June of 2023. So
yeah, it's like, so you haven't even been married like 6 months. Like that's it, 6 months, and you're already cheating on your husband. And not only have you cheated on him, you've cheated on him with Reese, Robbie, and him, and that's just who we really know that you've been with. So it's all very erratic, and I just think that addition of Burner, I've heard other people call it the burnout, and I think it is going to be the burnout. Like, I think that it's going to be the end of it, and it's like, I think that's why she's so quick to snap back now. Like, if you kind of go back, like, she was cocky before all this mess started. Like, she was cocky in some of her comments. She would, like, you know, snip at people. Like, I saw that. But it wasn't anything too crazy. And then she was very not so defensive. It was more like, oh, I'm trying to do, and it was like, I think she was trying to rebuild her public image. And then when she realized that she wasn't going to, her and Burner are just yelling at everybody on the internet. It's like, come on, you're a public figure. You know how to act. Like, you know how to act. And
she's got all this deflection. She knows the key words to talk about, like, oh, they're gaslighting, oh, they're abusive, oh, they're, it's disgusting that they're doing this, and I'm being harassed, and hey, by the way, you know, don't know who needs to hear this, but, you know, and she would say things under the guise of helping people, and it's just such BS. I mean,
like, just like the video she made talking about trying to get Jason isolated in prison from the outside world. Like, you were wanting to cut off every way that he had to communicate with people because he was harming you. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that what he did not hurt her feelings. I'm sure it did. But there is a big difference between you're getting butthurt and the actual harm. What he's doing isn't actually harming her. He isn't putting a hit out on you. Like, come on, girl. Like, there would have to be some keywords in there, and there are none. Like, he's just telling what you did to him, and you hate the fact that he's doing that. You can't stand it.
Right, and the way that she acted like there were these code words that just viewers regularly didn't know. It was wild, and did you notice she actually changed the green light in her kitchen to blue? Did you notice that?
No.
Yeah, so they're changing their hair color. So, you know, they're kind of, I guess, trying to go back and...
like, and that's the thing. Like, I believe, I don't want to say any gang names because I just don't want any attention from that, but, like, I believe the colors were green and red. Well, that was all Burner was wearing. Was Burner trying to get to be part of, like, the crew? Like, that's what I don't get. And that's what I feel like is dangerous, because I feel like if anybody is in danger, it's Burner. Like, I don't think they would touch Jessica, because at the end of the day, if what has been said is true, Jason is respected in the crew. He is a respected member. They would want peace. they want Lil Peep before they wanted anybody else. And that's where it's dangerous, because not only would they want him, but he's around your kids. He's in your house. Like, if something goes down, it's going down around you. And then, like, I was mentioning Little Chucky, that creator that,
Yes.
or no, I'm sorry, it's called Lucky Chucky. That's his name. It's Lucky 00 Chucky. And, like, you're a 35-year-old mother. Well, I think she's a little bit younger than me, so like 33-year-old mother of two. And you are literally on TikTok in DMs telling somebody to come find you and fight. Like, are you kidding me? Now, if Burner and him wanted to do that, whatever. Like, if you want to handle your business that way, I'm not going to hate on you. That's totally fine.
Right.
But, like, the way that they're going about it's like, why can't you just pick a mutual place and do it? And that be that. Or, like, do it for charity. People would pay to watch that. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different ways to go about it. And it's like, in the past 6 months, there's just been immature. Yeah. It's been very, very immature, and it's been very, very reactionary. And I just don't think she can help herself anymore.
They're trying to do that at her house, aren't they? Like, or somewhere near her house?
That's what he's saying. Like, they won't do it at her house, or like they won't do it. Like, they're wanting to do it near a police station, and it's like he feels like he's being set up. And it's like, I get that. Like, let him pick the place. Like, I get how it's dangerous on all sides, but don't sit there and say, "Oh yeah, I want to meet up, blah blah blah, and I want to fight you," and then like shift the goalpost. You know what I mean? Like, it right. Doesn't make sense. And it's like, I get that you have beef with that guy, and he's completely exposed you and like said how you're a punk, and like I respect him for that. But like at the same time, like handling it this way is not the way to go about it. Like, Jessica used to be composed. She used to handle things actually way, way better. And she was very, yes. I actually respected that about her, how composed she was, how she could speak. Her public speaking was really well. Like, I'm not as good at that as she is. But it's become something so far from what it started as. It's like, she's not the same person that she started as. And I don't think that somebody should be the same person they were 8 years ago. But you expect someone to be on an upward trend, not a downward trend. And right. It's like, I hate to say it, but like where she was 8 years ago compared to now, it's a downward trend. It's very downward.
It's such a huge change. It's such a huge change. And going back to Lucky Chucky, I think is his name. Seeing how many people she's set up before, I absolutely believe that is a setup of some sort. Because it does seem like everybody around her goes to jail as soon as she's done with them. And I don't know how she hasn't gone to jail. That's still a mystery.
That's my biggest question. Like, how she hasn't went to jail, how she hasn't had serious DCFS like cases on her. I don't understand it. It's like, how are you failing drug tests? How are you moving weight out of your house, allegedly? How are you having people who are using in your home and not having a microscope on you from that office? Like, it makes zero sense to me. I've known people who've had a microscope on them, like, over, like, in my case, like, when I had a microscope on me, it was over doctor's appointments. You know what I mean? It's like, right. They can pick anything to put a microscope on you, but like, girl, like, things you're doing, like, there's a legitimate need there. You know what I mean? And it's like, I know she's been called on, and it's like, part of me thinks that she has convinced local authorities, DCFS, everyone, that it's harassment and that it's online people and they don't know what they're talking about. And like, granted, I understand that, because my situation came from a family member who has BPD, and they literally live in a different world. Like, they believe what they believe, and that's it. There's no changing their mind. Right. And I can understand it being harassment, and I don't believe that anybody on the internet should have called on her, period. But we all also know that Reese's family has called. Like, his family has reason for concern. And that, to me, is where it's like, it should be taken a little more seriously. And I do think it's interesting that not only was Jason's arrest recorded, when Reese flipped out and had shot the gun or whatever, that was all recorded. Everything is recorded, and everything is content. And the way that Jason has made it is like, nothing happens in Jessica's life unless it is recorded. Like, it's all for content. Like,
Yeah.
they were going to have a big wedding when he got out because it's for content. And it's like, they didn't want to tell before because it's like, it's not good content. And it's like, I can't imagine living your life. And honestly, for the girls, like, I can't imagine their life because every time you do something, every time you make slime with your mom, every time you know, go to the theme park, you're being recorded. And it's like, Micah has even said in recordings, like, stop recording me. Why are you recording me? And it sucks. It's sad. It's very, very sad.
Someone said over on the subreddit, I believe it was, that, you know, those girls must look for a camera everywhere they go and wonder, like, what exactly is being recorded? How much privacy do they have? And
they
that's
probably have none. Like,
that's gotta be such a nightmare.
Like, I would assume that she has cameras in all of the common areas of the home. Like,
Mhm.
if she recorded Jason and that was an accident, that his arrest was recorded, then she had a camera placed in her home that was getting that angle of the house anyway.
Mhm.
So you're getting the kids when they're playing outside. You're getting them when they're playing in the living room. You're getting them when they're doing this. And it's like, when she gets a lot of heat about the kids, she tries to show these guys interacting with the kids. And I think that Jason truly loved those girls. And I think Reese truly loved those girls.
Yes.
I think that they really loved them. But they're playing chess with Micah or Riley. Like, I'm sorry. It's not the win you think it is. Like, it's not, like, she puts this stuff out as an own. And it's like, it's not the own that you think it is. It's like, you are doing all of this, but it's not. It's
Reese
not
was
hitting
playful
the way that you
too.
want it to.
Like,
Yeah,
Reese played with them, and Jason played with them, and now they're abusive, but now we're supposed to believe that Birder playing chess with them is like
enough.
a sign of him being like a great dude of some sort. And
Yeah. And it's like, even the docu-series, like, getting the body cam and showing Jason eating fries. And I do think it's kind of funny that he's like, I was choking on fries. Like, he's very genuine. And I really like that about him. He just says it how it is. He doesn't make excuses for his bad behavior. He's like, yeah, I was being a dick. And I like that. I think that if Jessica picked up a little more of that, she would be doing a lot better than she is. Because I think that's the biggest thing is she can't just admit, yeah, I was a bitch. Like, yeah, I've been a bitch to Reese. Yeah, I've been a bitch to Jason. Like, and I don't regret it. You know, you don't have to show remorse. You don't have to regret it, but you do have to take accountability for it. And for Jessica, that one word is literally, she cannot do that. She cannot take accountability. It is just something that is completely not within the bounds of something she can do. And like, I actually feel bad for her because accountability isn't just for like her, it's or yourself. It's for
right.
Like, you can move on past that. Like, you can't move on until you say, yeah, I did X, Y, and Z, and I'm sorry. Like, for instance, you and I, we had a little spat, and it's like, I could not move on until I had said, hey, I'm sorry, I did X, Y, and Z. And it's like, I didn't leave anything out. And it's like, that way, nobody can manipulate what I said because I'm like,
Right.
hey, I did this, I'm sorry. And it's like, with her, she leaves so much out if she does give that apology. It's like she leaves things out, and then people are like, oh, well, look at this. I got this. I got that. I got this. And it becomes completely inept at that point.
I appreciated, and it made it so much easier for me to forgive when you did apologize. And I felt like there was a lot that I did as well, you know, that I'm sorry for. You know, I feel like nobody in that situation was innocent, like you said as well.
Yeah.
Before. And as far as Jessica, I try to understand there's some degree of like how humiliated she's going to be if she does have to admit exactly what she's done. But she did some things here and there I wish she would continue to do that were kind of on the right path. And then take accountability, of course. That would be great, but she's never going to do that. If she would do things like, she did the Griselda Blanco thing. I don't know if you saw that. It was like the dark history of Griselda Blanco.
Oh, no. I actually know that. Like, I had spoken with her about, she wanted to do a Queen Pin series. And then I saw what you're talking about. Like, she went that way. And like, I do think that she could have a channel, especially if she hired a writer, where she could have that kind of stuff. And hey, maybe she could write it herself. Like, she doesn't have to have a writer, you know, it's not hard to do. But I do think that she could do those things, but I don't think that she can get out of the drama of it all. I don't think that she can live
Right.
with the crappy comments. I don't think that she can live with the Reddit. Like, those things deeply bother her. And it's like, Trisha Paytas, for instance, like she had a Reddit and it's like it bothered her, but it was something she put on the back burner until it got dangerous for her. And then she had it taken down. And it's like, if Jess could kind of just ignore it, like just put it in a
Mm-hmm.
box and ignore it and start doing things to move forward and advance her life and make it better, she would be fine. She would be fine, but
It,
she isn't focusing on those things. She's focusing on, in my opinion, always having a man in her life. And that is like a fucking
yes.
sideshow. Like, that is why people watch, because it's a sideshow. Everybody knows someone like that. You know what I mean? Everybody knows that girl that can't exist without a boyfriend, who always has to have a boyfriend. And it's like, that's who she is. And it's like, it's sad to me. Like, I don't want her to not succeed. And I think that that's where she gets things so mixed up. It's like, people don't want you to not succeed. We actually want you to succeed. And that's why it's
Yes.
frustrating. It's like, I want you to be a good creator because I know you have it in you. You were at one point filming 4 videos a week. You were really getting it. And you can do a really good job. And your interviews are interesting and your stories are interesting. All we're asking is that you tell the truth. And if you don't have
Exactly.
interesting stories anymore, then go interview people who do. There are people without platforms who have really interesting life stories.
I
And
made a
it's like,
list of over on Reddit,
I
actually
think I saw
yesterday.
that. I think I saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about things she could be doing right now, but she'd
Yeah.
rather be doing this. And it's ironic, though, today she made, I think it was a TikTok saying, well, if you don't like me, just don't watch me. But the thing is, like, if she doesn't like what people are saying about her, she could just not watch them.
Well, and
Like you
it's
said,
like,
ignore it.
allegedly, Peter Mon told her 100% that she doesn't need to engage with this. And it's like, if you're getting that advice from him, he's been around the block. He knows what's
Yes.
up with drama. And it's like, first of all, you're lucky that you got that advice. You're lucky that you had somebody who was enough in your corner to say, hey, don't engage with this. But, I'm saying allegedly because I don't know Peter and I don't want to, say anything that I
Right.
shouldn't out of turn. But I know for a fact that happened. And it's like, and she just kind of spit in his face because that was at the very beginning of all this. And she could have made a turn. There are so many different points that she could have made a turn. And I think that we're all frustrated because we can see it, but she can't. And it's like, I mean, I think that when we're moving into a place with digital creators and online things where it's like you're so invested because
Yes.
you've been there from the beginning. It's like you've watched her grow for years and years, and it's like you want good for her. And I think that that's the biggest misconception in her mind. I think she thinks that we all just hate her and we're haters and we want her to not succeed and go to jail or to lose her children. I don't want you to lose your kids. I want you to keep your kids. Like, I want those girls to stay with you because I think it would be extremely traumatic if they were removed. I don't think you're a bad mom. I just want you to try a little harder. Like, that's
Right.
all. Like, you're not at a place in your and I know after a breakup you want to, but you're not at a place in your life where you can party. You're just
Mm-hmm.
not. You need to take care of your girls. You need to make sure that the people that you're bringing around them are good influences because right now they're not.
Right. And she's thrown out anybody who's not enabling her, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about Peter Mon and you were talking about Christina Randall earlier, it has to be a little bit embarrassing for them too to,
Oh, Christina has completely erased like their relationship, and I don't think that they speak anymore. And it's like
yeah,
that's
it's
sad.
sad.
That's really sad. Like, that was a good connection for you. That was someone good on YouTube that you could, connect with and possibly have them help you rehab your career. But now you've kind of just chucked that out the window, and it's like Pierre probably would have helped her rehab her career. But she went so far with all of this, so far trying to prove Tracy. And I'm sorry, Tracy with 3,000 followers. Like, let's just be realistic. Like, that is not somebody you need to worry about. Like, just do your fucking content and
Right.
just stay focused. And it's like, I get it, dude. Like, I've had people talk about me on the internet. It's not fun. It's not something that you're like, oh, yay, this is freaking wonderful. No, it sucks. It's horrible. But at the end of the day, you have to decide, are you going to do content or are you going to just respond to people? Because if you just respond all the time, your content sucks.
It's like she's trying to douse these little fires before they spread, and it's somehow making it worse. You know,
It's like she's trying to prove everything and doing it in this long-winded way where people get to a point, like with her doggy series, like by the time she was done, I was like, I don't care anymore. Like,
yeah,
we've done four and a half
exactly.
hours of this. Like, I don't care. And I think that she thinks these things are so much more important than they are. And I'm not saying they're not in her life. To her, they are this important. But you have to look at it from a content creator perspective. And I know that you have that capability. And you know, at some point, people are going to get tired and bored with this content. And that's what happened. Like, the views started to go down on it. And it's like, realistically, that should have been a 2.5 hour thing. That was
She
like
got
2 parts.
lazy with it. Yeah.
Very lazy. And it's like all of the cut in like body cam, she
Mm-hmm.
left way too much in. Like, it should have been cut up way more. And it's like, I just think that she has so much more potential. And I think a lot of people are angry at that because they know she has potential to be good and she just isn't right now.
Yeah, it's
And
exactly
it's,
that. People
yeah,
want to see her do better. It's not this whole subreddit. And I don't know if you've seen some people get onto subreddit and they're like talking about how they wanted to see what was wrong with us, and they see actually now that Jessica has
yeah.
lied to them all along. And it's a shock to see, but it's like she still has time to pick it back up, do
Yeah,
better.
she could still
Just,
fix things. And it's like,
yeah.
it's so frustrating because like I watched the Reddit, but like I wasn't in a Reddit girly or whatever until after Nicole because I didn't think Nicole was a good look for like the anti community. I think that she was a terrible look. I think that she was a terrible representative for what this community actually is talking about because she just hated Jessica. That was
Mhm.
100% clear. She was jealous and she hated Jessica, and that's probably going to get some hands thrown at me and some responses, but that's what it was. Like, she was laughing at her deep. She was doing things wrong, and it's like you can't. When you're coming at a situation like this, you have to come at it with empathy. You can't come at it with I hate you, I'm jealous, blah, 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 you know what I mean? And it's like I don't want anything bad for her. I don't hate her. You
Right,
know what
or
I
hop
mean?
on a
And it's
live
like,
stream every day. I want to say we are about to run out
yeah,
of time.